A billionaire fell in love with a poor girl who sells bread in the streets. But his rich mother swore, "My son will never marry someone from poverty." Tell me, is she protecting him or destroying his happiness? Stay with me as the story of love and war unfolds. Stella had been selling bread in the market for years. Life was hard, but she had no choice. Her mother, Mama Stella, was sick, and the hospital bills were too much. Every morning, Stella woke up early, carried her tray of bread, and stood under the hot sun calling out to customers. One day, as she arranged the bread, a sleek black car parked nearby. A tall, handsome man in an expensive suit stepped out. He looked around like he wasn't supposed to be there. Then his eyes landed on her. "How much is the bread?" he asked. Stella looked up, surprised. Rich men like him never stopped to buy street bread. 500 naira per loaf, she said simply. He smiled and reached for his wallet, but before he could pay, a rude man shoved past him and hissed, "Move aside, rich boy. You're blocking the way." Stella ignored the insult. She was already used to the harshness of the street. But the rich man didn't. He turned to the rude customer, his voice cold. "Watch your mouth. Selling bread is not a crime." The rude man glanced at him, then at his expensive watch, and quickly walked away. Stella raised an eyebrow. "You didn't have to do that." "Maybe I just like standing up for hardworking people," the man said. "My name is James." Stella handed him the bread. "Nice to meet you, James. Now, do you want more bread, or are you just here to talk?" James chuckled. "Maybe both." From a distance, someone was watching them. Michael clenched his fists, his eyes burning with anger. Years ago, he had wanted Stella for himself. He had promised her money and a good life, but she rejected him. "You think you're too good for me," Michael had sneered when she turned him down. "I don't love you, Michael. Please stop following me," Stella had said. He had never forgotten those words. And now, seeing her smile at another man made his blood boil. "So you rejected me, but now you're smiling at this rich fool," he muttered, fists tightening. "If I can't have you, no one will." The next day, James returned to the market. Stella frowned. "You again." James leaned on her stall, smiling. "I didn't get your name yesterday." "Stella." James smiled. "A perfect name." Stella rolled her eyes. "If you're here to joke, I have bread to sell." James chuckled. "Actually, I have an offer. I want you to own your own bakery. I'll pay for everything, and you will be the boss." Stella's eyes widened. "Why would you do that for me?" James shrugged. "I believe in you. You work hard. You deserve more." Stella hesitated. She had always dreamed of owning a bakery, but why would a billionaire help her? "No, thank you," she said. James raised an eyebrow. "Why?" "I don't take gifts from strangers." James smirked. "Then get to know me." Stella laughed despite herself. "Fine, but I still don't trust you." "Then I'll earn your trust," James said. From a corner, Michael watched them, his face dark with anger. "She will regret this," he muttered. Days passed, and James kept his word. He helped Stella open her bakery, Stella's Tasty Bread. Customers flooded in. Stella worked hard, and soon her business became famous. James visited every day. They talked, laughed, and slowly Stella started to like him, always eagerly anticipating his visits. One evening, Stella sat outside the bakery looking sad. James noticed. "What's wrong?" Stella sighed. "My mother is very sick. The hospital said she needs surgery, but I don't have the money." James held her hand. "How much do you need?" Stella looked down. "A lot more than I can ever afford." James didn't think twice. "I'll pay for it." Stella's eyes widened. "No, I can't let you do that." "I want to," James said gently. "Let me help." Tears filled Stella's eyes. "James, I don't know what to say." "Just say yes," he whispered. Stella nodded, too emotional to speak. The next day, James transferred the money. The surgery was successful. When Mama Stella woke up, she held her daughter's hand and said, "That man loves you. Don't push him away." Stella smiled. "I know, Mama." That night, after closing the bakery, Stella and James walked under the streetlights. James stopped and turned to her. "Stella, do you know why I did all this?" Stella looked at him. "Because you're kind." James smiled. "Because I love you." Stella's heart pounded. "You love me?" James nodded. "Yes. I love your strength, your kindness, and the way you fight for your dreams." Stella felt tears in her eyes. She had been afraid of love, afraid of getting hurt, but James felt different. She took a deep breath and whispered, "I love you too." James' eyes shone. "Say it again." Stella smiled. "I love you, James." James pulled her close, and under the night sky, they shed their first kiss. But not everyone was happy. Michael sat in his office, his face twisted with rage. "So she loves him now? After rejecting me," he growled. He picked up his phone. "Find a way to ruin her bakery. I want her to suffer." On the other end, Elizabeth, Stella's assistant in the bakery, smiled wickedly. "Consider it done." Stella had never been this happy before. Her mother was healthy again, her bakery was growing, and James was always by her side. Every morning, he stopped by the bakery before going to work. He would sit at the counter, watching her bake, teasing her, making her laugh. She loved the way he made her feel safe. The way he believed in her, even when she doubted herself. One evening, after closing the bakery, James took her hand and looked into her eyes. "Stella, you don't know how much I love you," he said softly. Stella felt her heart race. "I love you too, James," she whispered. He smiled and kissed her gently. That night, she couldn't stop thinking about him. She had never believed she would fall in love, but with James, everything felt right. But while Stella was happy, Michael was burning with anger. He sat in his office, staring at pictures of Stella and James on his phone. He had hired someone to follow them, to watch their every move. Seeing them together made his blood boil. "She rejected me, but now she's giving her heart to him," he muttered. He clenched his fists, his mind racing with evil thoughts. Then he picked up his phone and called Elizabeth. "It's time," he said. Elizabeth, Stella's assistant, smiled. "Don't worry, boss. I'll make sure her bakery is destroyed." The next morning, Stella arrived at the bakery early, as usual. She greeted her workers, put on her apron, and started baking. The smell of fresh bread filled the air, and customers lined up outside waiting for the doors to open. But just as she was about to unlock the door, health inspectors stormed in. "This bakery is being shut down," one of them announced. Stella froze. "What? Why?" she asked, her heart pounding. The inspector handed her a paper. "We received reports that you're using expired ingredients. Your bakery is not safe for customers." Stella's hands trembled as she looked at the paper. "That's a lie. We only use fresh ingredients," she protested. Outside, people gathered, whispering. "I knew it. She was never a real businesswoman," someone said. "James made her rich, and now she's exposed," another added. Stella felt dizzy. How could this be happening? She turned to Elizabeth. "Did you know about this?" Elizabeth faked a shocked expression. "No, Stella, I swear I don't know anything." But inside, she was smiling. Just then, James arrived and saw the bakery doors being sealed. "What the hell is going on?" he demanded. Stella looked at him, tears in her eyes. "They shut me down, James. They think I poison people," she said, her voice breaking. James's jaw clenched. "This is a setup," he said firmly. Stella shook her head. "It doesn't matter, it's over," she whispered. James cupped her face gently. "Don't say that. We'll fight this." But Stella pulled away. "James, maybe they're right. Maybe I don't belong in your world." His heart twisted. "Don't say that," he pleaded. But Stella had already turned away, walking into the rain, leaving him standing there helpless. From a distance, Michael watched from his car, smirking. "And just like that, she falls," he said. But what he didn't know was that James was not a man who gave up easily. That night, James sat in his office, going through security footage from the bakery. He knew someone had set Stella up, and he was going to find out who. Suddenly, he saw something that made his blood boil. Elizabeth. She had been sneaking into Stella's office at night. He rewound the footage and saw her slipping papers into Stella's files. His hands tightened into fists. "So it was you," he muttered. The next morning, he stormed into Elizabeth's apartment. She opened the door, shocked to see him. "James, what are you?" Before she could finish, he grabbed her phone and scrolled through her messages. He found the text between her and Michael. "It's done. She's ruined," Elizabeth had written. James's eyes darkened. "How much did he pay you to betray Stella?" he asked coldly. Elizabeth trembled. "James, please, I can explain." "Save it," he snapped. "You're going to confess everything." An hour later, James dragged Elizabeth to Stella's house. Stella opened the door, her face pale and tired. She hadn't slept all night. "James, what are you doing here?" she asked weakly. "We need to talk," he said. Then he turned to Elizabeth. "Tell her the truth." Elizabeth looked down, ashamed. "Stella, I betrayed you," she whispered. "I was working for Michael. He told me to plant fake evidence in your bakery. He wanted to destroy you." Stella's heart sank. "Michael," she repeated, her voice shaking. Elizabeth nodded. "He never forgave you for rejecting him. He wanted revenge." Stella covered her mouth, trying to hold back tears. James stepped forward. "Stella, you are not a failure. You didn't deserve this. And I swear, I will make Michael pay." Stella looked at him, her eyes filled with emotion. "James, I don't know what to say." He took her hands. "Say you believe in us. Say you won't give up." Stella took a deep breath. "I believe in us," she whispered. James smiled and pulled her into his arms. But their happiness was short-lived. That night, James's phone rang. He picked up. "Hello. If you want to see Stella's mother alive, bring $1 million, a cold voice said. James's heart stopped. "Who is this?" "You have 24 hours, the voice replied. Then the call ended. James turned to Stella, his face pale. "Your mother. She's been kidnapped." Stella gasped. "No. Who would do this?" she cried. James clenched his fists. "Michael," he growled. He grabbed his car keys and headed for the door. Stella ran after him. "James, please, don't do anything crazy." He turned to her, his eyes burning with anger. "I will not let him hurt you again," he said, then drove off into the night, leaving Stella standing there, tears streaming down her face. Inside an abandoned warehouse, Michael smirked as he watched Mama Stella tied to a chair. "James thinks he can take everything from me? Let's see how far he's willing to go," he said. His men laughed. "Do you really think he'll come alone?" one asked. Michael smirked. "He will, because he loves her." Meanwhile, James sped through the streets, gripping the steering wheel tightly. Rage consumed him, but deep down, he knew the truth. Michael wasn't stupid. If he had the guts to kidnap Mama Stella, then he had dangerous people working for him. What if they had guns? What if they were many? He couldn't rush in blindly and get himself killed. He forced himself to think. James pulled over, took a deep breath, and grabbed his phone. He dialed a number. The police chief answered. "This is James." "I need your help," James said, his voice firm. "What's going on?" the chief asked. "A man named Michael has kidnapped someone. He's demanding $1 million. If I go there alone, I might not come back alive." The chief was silent for a moment, then said, "We'll handle it. Tell him we're bringing the money. We'll be ready to take him down." James exhaled slowly. "Thank you." Next, he called Michael. "I have the money," James said, keeping his voice steady. Michael laughed. "Good boy. I knew you'd make the right choice. Bring it to the warehouse. Come alone." "Fine," James said. An hour later, James arrived at the warehouse. He parked his car, stepped out, and held a black briefcase. He had to stay calm. He knew the police were hiding nearby, watching everything. The warehouse doors creaked open. Michael walked out with a smug smile. Behind him were 5 of his men, all holding guns. In the middle sat Mama Stella, tied to a chair, weak and frightened. "Where's the money?" Michael asked, stepping forward. James held up the briefcase. "Right here." Michael grinned. "Good. Drop it on the ground and step back." James hesitated. scanning the shadows. The police had to be in position by now. He prayed silently in his mind. "Let my mother-in-law go first," James said. Michael burst out laughing. "Mother-in-law? Oh, James, don't tell me you're actually in love with that bread seller. You could have any woman you want, but you chose her." James clenched his fists. "Let her go, Michael." Michael smiled. "Money first." James sighed and slowly bent down to place the briefcase on the ground. A loud gunshot echoed. Before Michael and his men could react, the warehouse doors burst open. "Police, drop your weapons." Sirens blared as officers stormed in from every side. Michael's men tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. Within seconds, the police had them surrounded, guns raised. An officer tackled Michael to the ground, twisting his arms behind his back. "You set me up." Michael roared, struggling. James smirked. "You were never going to win, Michael." Mama Stella was quickly untied and led to safety. She was shaking but unharmed. One by one, Michael's men were handcuffed and taken away. But James wasn't finished. "Where's Elizabeth?" he asked the police. An officer stepped forward, dragging Elizabeth toward them. "We found her trying to run. She was working with Michael." Elizabeth's face was pale with fear. "James, please. I was forced to do it. I didn't have a choice." James looked at her coldly. "You had a choice, Elizabeth. And you chose to betray Stella." Elizabeth burst into tears as the police dragged her away with the rest of Michael's men. James turned to Mama Stella. "Are you okay?" She nodded weakly. "Thank you, James. You saved me." James sighed in relief. "Let's go home." That night, Stella sat outside her house waiting. She hadn't been able to eat or sleep since she learned her mother had been kidnapped. When she heard the sound of a car pulling up, she jumped to her feet. James stepped out, and behind him, Mama Stella slowly got out of the car. "Mama!" Stella screamed, running toward her. Her mother opened her arms, and Stella threw herself into them, sobbing. "I thought I lost you," Stella cried. Mama Stella stroked her hair gently. "I'm here, my daughter, thanks to James." Stella looked up at James, her eyes filled with emotion. "You saved her," she whispered. James smiled softly. "I told you, I would never let anything happen to your family." Stella wiped her tears and ran into his arms. "I love you, James," she whispered. James kissed her forehead. "I love you too, Stella. More than anything in this world." Mama Stella smiled as she watched them. "People like Michael will always exist," she said calmly. "But love is stronger than any enemy." James looked into Stella's eyes. "Nothing will ever come between us again." Stella nodded, feeling safe in his arms. But little did they know, their story was far from over. James had made up his mind. Stella was the woman he loved, and it was time for his mother to meet her. He knew his mother, Mrs. Agnes, could be difficult, but he hoped that once she saw Stella's heart, she would welcome her. That evening, he took Stella to his family mansion. Stella was nervous. "James, what if she doesn't like me?" James held her hand. "She will. You're everything a mother would want for her son." Stella smiled, but inside, her fear grew. When they arrived, the house was grand, bigger than anything Stella had ever seen. A maid opened the door and led them inside. Mrs. Agnes sat in the luxurious living room, dressed in an expensive gown, sipping tea. She was a woman used to power, used to control. James walked forward, smiling. "Mother, I want you to meet someone special." Mrs. Agnes looked up. Her sharp eyes landed on Stella. She examined her from head to toe, the simple dress, the nervous posture, the hands that showed years of hard work. "Good evening, Ma," Stella greeted politely, bowing slightly. Mrs. Agnes did not respond immediately. She set down her tea, folded her arms, and turned to James. "Who is she?" James smiled and held Stella's hand. "Her name is Stella. She's the woman I love." Silence filled the room. Mrs. Agnes's eyes darkened. "Where is she from?" James hesitated. She grew up in the city. She had a small business selling bread, but now she owns her own bakery. Mrs. Agnes's expression turned cold. "A bread seller." James's jaw tightened. "She is more than that, Mother. She's hardworking, strong, and kind. She is the reason I believe in love again. Mrs. Agnes's face remained unreadable. Then she turned to Stella. Who are your parents? Stella swallowed hard. My mother is a widow. My father passed away years ago. It has always been just the two of us. Mrs. Agnes curled her lips into a thin, cruel smile. So you don't have a credible surname? From a poor background? James's eyes widened. Mother, that is not important. Mrs. Agnes ignored him. Her gaze pinned onto Stella like a blade. Do you know my son was used and dumped by a poor girl before? Her voice was sharp. James stiffened. Mother, stop. Mrs. Agnes continued, even louder. He gave his heart to a girl from the streets, thinking she loved him. When she got everything she wanted, she left him. She broke him. And now you expect me to allow my son to make the same mistake twice. Stella's hands trembled. I am not that girl, Ma, she said softly. Mrs. Agnes scoffed. That's what they all say. James stepped in front of Stella, fury in his eyes. Mother, Stella is different. She's not after my money. She has never asked me for anything. She worked for everything she has. Mrs. Agnes shook her head. I will not allow history to repeat itself. My son will not marry a poor, wretched girl who lacks a surname. James clenched his fists. I love her, Mother. That will never change. Mrs. Agnes stared at him, her expression hard. Then you will have to choose, your family or this girl. James's heart pounded. Mother, don't do this. I have spoken, she said firmly. You are my only son, James. I want the best for you. And this girl, is not the best. Stella felt tears fill her eyes. She turned to James. James, maybe she's right. Maybe I don't belong here. James grabbed her hand tightly. Don't say that. We belong together. Mrs. Agnes stood. If you walk out of this house with her, do not come back. James stared at his mother, shocked. You're really going to push me away because of this? I am protecting you, Mrs. Agnes replied coldly. James shook his head in disappointment. He turned to Stella, gripping her hand. Let's go. Stella hesitated. James, no, she's your mother. James's voice was firm. And you are my future. Mrs. Agnes watched as her son led Stella out of the mansion. Her heart ached, but she refused to show it. He will come back, she whispered to herself. He will realize his mistake. Stella got home feeling weak. Her heart was heavy, her eyes filled with unshed tears. She had never imagined love could be this hard. She sat on the bed, staring at nothing, replaying everything that happened at James's house. His mother's cold words echoed in her mind. You are poor. My son will not marry a girl like you. If you walk out of this house with her, do not come back. The pain in James's eyes when he chose her over his own mother broke her heart even more. She knew he loved her, but was love enough? Could she really marry into a family that did not accept her? The door creaked open. Mama Stella walked into the room and saw her daughter looking lost. She sat beside her quietly. Stella, what is wrong? She asked gently. Stella looked at her mother. And just like that, the tears she had been holding back began to fall. Mama, I am done. I cannot marry James, she whispered. Mama Stella frowned. What do you mean? Stella wiped her face. His mother does not like me. She doesn't want her son to marry a poor girl. She told him to choose between me and his family, and he chose me, Mama. Her voice cracked. I cannot be the reason James loses his family. Mama Stella sighed deeply. My child, love is not always easy. But do you think walking away is the right decision? Stella sniffed. I love him, Mama, more than anything. But what if his mother never accepts me? Mama Stella held her hands. Then you prove her wrong. Stella shook her head. I don't think she will ever change her mind. Mama Stella smiled softly. A mother always wants the best for her child. Mrs. Agnes does not hate you, Stella. She is only afraid. She has seen her son heartbroken before, and she is scared it will happen again. Stella's lips trembled. I know, Mama. I see the love James has for me, but her words hurt. Mama Stella wiped her tears gently. Then be calm, my daughter. Let time show her the truth. Love does not rush. If James truly loves you, and he does, he will not give up. And you must not give up either. Stella exhaled slowly. Mama, what if she never accepts me? What if this love ends in pain? Mama Stella smiled again. Love always has obstacles. But if it is real, it will win. You cannot run away just because things are difficult. If James has chosen you, then stand beside him. Stella closed her eyes, thinking deeply. She loved James with all her heart. But was she strong enough for this battle? Mama Stella lifted her chin gently. You are strong, my child. Don't let fear take away your happiness. Stella nodded slowly. Her mother was right, but deep inside, she wondered, would Mrs. Agnes ever accept her? Or was this only the beginning of the war? Meanwhile, James sat in his office, staring at his desk. His heart felt heavy. He had not been able to focus on work since the argument with his mother. He loved Stella deeply, but the way Mrs. Agnes treated her tore him apart. He sighed and ran his hand over his face. Just then, the door opened, and his father, Papa James, walked in. James, we need to talk, he said. James looked up, surprised. Papa James was a calm and reasonable man, unlike his wife, who always wanted things her way. Come in, Dad, James said quietly. Papa James sat down. Your mother told me everything. James sighed. I expected she would. Papa James leaned forward. James, you know how your mother is. After what happened in the past, she is afraid. She doesn't want you to go through that pain again. James shook his head. I understand that, Dad, but she shouldn't have said those things in Stella's presence. At least she should have respected me, her own son. His father nodded slowly. I agree. Your mother was too harsh. I told her she could have handled it better. But you also know, when she has made up her mind, it is hard to change it. James sighed again. I just wish she would listen. Dad, Stella is different. She's not after my money. She never even wanted my help at first. She's strong, hardworking, and kind. He paused, his voice firm. I love her, Dad, and I know she loves me too. Papa James studied his son's face and saw the seriousness in his eyes. I believe you, son, he said gently, and I will talk to your mother when I get home. Maybe with time, she will understand. James felt a small wave of relief. Please do, Dad. I really love this woman, and I know she's different. Papa James smiled softly. I know you do. That's why I will try my best to make her see what you see in Stella. James nodded. Thank you, Dad. Papa James looked at him closely. You know, you look like a man who just lost his favorite meal. James raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? Papa James chuckled. You've been sitting here looking like someone took your last plate of jollof rice. James couldn't help but laugh. His father always knew how to lift his spirits. Come on, son, Papa James said, patting his shoulder. Cheer up. Love is not always easy, but it's worth fighting for. James smiled. Thanks, Dad. Papa James stood up. Now go back to work. Your company won't run itself. James laughed lightly. Yes, sir. As his father walked out, James felt a little lighter. He still had a battle to fight. But at least now, he knew he wasn't fighting alone. Papa James arrived home that evening tired, but determined. He had promised his son he would speak to his wife, and that was exactly what he intended to do. He walked into the living room and found Mrs. Agnes sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone, her face still cold with anger. We need to talk, he said firmly. Mrs. Agnes did not look up. There's nothing to talk about. Papa James sighed. Agnes, calm down. You are taking this too far. Mrs. Agnes finally raised her head, her eyes sharp. Too far? So now I am the problem? I am protecting my son. Papa James shook his head. No, you are trying to control him. James is a grown man. He has chosen the woman he loves. Why can't you accept that? Mrs. Agnes scoffed. Because she is poor. She is not his class. James has suffered enough because of a poor girl before, and I will not allow it to happen again. Papa James's eyes narrowed. Are you going to marry your son? Mrs. Agnes gasped, stunned. What did you just say? You heard me, Papa James replied, his voice rising. Are you planning to marry James yourself? Because the way you are acting, it seems like you want to control his love life forever. Mrs. Agnes stood up abruptly, her hands shaking with anger. How dare you speak to me like this? But Papa James wasn't done. Where was your family when I met you? Agnes. Were they wealthy? No, he said sharply. Your father was a school teacher. Your mother was a farmer. You were not rich. But I married you because I loved you. So why are you now acting as if poverty is a crime? Mrs. Agnes's face turned red with fury. She could not believe her ears. You are insulting me because of that stupid girl, she shouted. I am telling you the truth, Papa James snapped. You have forgotten where you came from. And now, because of your foolish pride, you want to destroy your son's happiness. Mrs. Agnes could not take another word. She spun around, stormed down the hallway, her heels clicking loudly on the marble floor. She reached her bedroom, slammed the door shut, and snatched her phone with trembling hands. Fury blinded her as she dialed Stella's number. The moment Stella answered, Mrs. Agnes hissed, You witch. Stella frowned. Excuse me? Who is this, please? You are the reason my family is falling apart. Mrs. Agnes spat. You want to destroy everything I built, but you will not succeed. Stella's heart skipped. Ma, Mrs. Agnes? So you know my name. Good, Mrs. Agnes snapped. Because I want you to listen carefully. You will leave my son alone. Stay away from James before you regret ever meeting him. Stella's hands trembled. Ma, with all due respect, I love James. I am not trying to destroy anything. Liar. Mrs. Agnes shouted. This is why I hate poor people. Always pretending to be innocent. You see a wealthy man and start acting holy. But I know your type. I see right through you. You are nothing but an opportunist. Something inside Stella snapped, something between pain and strength. I have never asked James for anything, she said firmly. I work hard. Everything he did for me, he did out of love. I love your son for who he is, not for what he has. Mrs. Agnes laughed bitterly. That's what they all say. First you pretend to be humble, then you turn my son against me. Look at what you've done. James walked out on me because of you. You think you've won? You must leave my son alone. Stella inhaled sharply. She had taken enough. And what if I don't leave him? Silence. Then Mrs. Agnes's voice returned, colder than ice. You won't dare. Just try me. Stella tightened her grip on her phone. James is not a child. He chose me. And I will not walk away just because you do not like me. Then prepare for war. Mrs. Agnes screamed. Because I will make sure this relationship ends in pain. You can try, Stella said calmly. But love is stronger than hate. Mrs. Agnes let out a bitter laugh. You have no idea who you are dealing with. Before Stella could respond, the call ended abruptly. She lowered the phone slowly, her heart pounding. Never in her life had she been insulted like that, but she was not afraid. She loved James. And now, she was ready to fight for the man she loved. The next day, Mama Stella was alone in the living room, enjoying the quiet evening, when she heard a knock on the door. She stood up, wondering who it could be. Slowly, she walked to the door and opened it. The moment she saw the woman standing outside, her eyes widened in shock. Agnes, she whispered, unable to believe her eyes. Mrs. Agnes was equally stunned. Pauline, what are you doing here? Mama Stella frowned. This is my house. What are you doing here? Mrs. Agnes took a step back, still processing everything. You mean, you are Stella's mother? Mama Stella nodded slowly. Yes, I am. But how did you get this address? And what brings you here? Mrs. Agnes was speechless for a moment. She shook her head, still stunned. I came here because of my son, James. He told me he loves a girl named Stella, and I came to warn her to stay away from him. But I had no idea Stella was your daughter. Mama Stella's eyes softened. And James is your son? Mrs. Agnes nodded. Yes. Mama Stella took a deep breath, her heart racing. Agnes, it's been so long. I have prayed for this day, that we would meet again. Mrs. Agnes felt her throat tighten. Memories of their childhood, their school days, and the friendship they once shared rushed back all at once. They had been best friends, inseparable. Then life took them in different directions. Marriage, children, moving to different cities. And now, after all these years, they were standing in front of each other again. Not just as old friends, but as the mothers of two people deeply in love. Tears filled Mama Stella's eyes. I can't believe this. After all these years, we are finally seeing each other again. Mrs. Agnes swallowed hard. Pauline, I have missed you so much. Without thinking, they stepped forward and hugged each other tightly. I missed you too, Mama Stella whispered. They held on to each other, overwhelmed. In that moment, the past didn't matter. The years apart didn't matter. All that mattered was that two long-lost friends had found each other again. After a long moment, they pulled away, smiling through their tears. Mrs. Agnes wiped her eyes. I never imagined this. My son is in love with your daughter. Mama Stella laughed softly. Yes, and he loves her deeply, just like we once loved each other as friends. Mrs. Agnes shook her head in wonder. Life truly has a way of surprising us. Mama Stella nodded. It does. But now that we are here, maybe this is a sign. Maybe our children are meant to be together, just like we were meant to meet again. Mrs. Agnes looked down, thinking deeply. Her heart, which had been full of anger and resistance, now felt strangely light. Was this fate? Was this God's plan? She took a deep breath. Pauline, I don't know what to say. Mama Stella smiled warmly. Then don't say anything yet. Just think about it. Don't let the past control the future. Give Stella a chance. Mrs. Agnes returned home still in shock. She sat in her living room, staring at nothing, overwhelmed by everything that had happened. She could not believe that after all these years, she had found Pauline, her best friend, her sister in everything. The same Pauline she had laughed with, cried with, shared dreams with. And now fate had brought them together again, through their children. She thought about all the things she had said to Stella. All the insults, all the harshness, all the hatred she carried in her heart. And for what? Slowly, shame washed over her. For the first time, Mrs. Agnes began to question herself, and wonder if she had been wrong all along. Mrs. Agnes picked up her phone and dialed James's number. The phone rang twice before he answered. Mother. James's voice was hesitant, as if he was bracing himself for another argument. Mrs. Agnes took a deep breath. James, my son, I need to talk to you. James frowned. What is it, Mother? Mrs. Agnes exhaled slowly. I went to see Stella today. James sat up straight instantly. What? Mother, what did you do? Did you insult her again? Mrs. Agnes shook her head, though he couldn't see her. No, my son. I went there to stop her from marrying you, but something unexpected happened. James was confused. What do you mean? A small smile touched Mrs. Agnes's lips. James, Stella's mother, Pauline, is my best friend from years ago. James's eyes widened. What? Stella's mother is your friend? Yes, my son, Mrs. Agnes said softly. We lost contact after getting married and moving away. I had no idea that the daughter she raised was the same woman you love. James was speechless. Mother, I can't believe this. So, what does this mean? Mrs. Agnes's voice softened more than ever before. It means, my son, that I was wrong. I judged Stella unfairly. I thought she was another girl after your money, but I was wrong. Pauline is a good woman, well-mannered, strong, and kind. And if she raised Stella, then Stella must be a good woman too. She paused, her voice trembling slightly. I am sorry for everything, James. You can go ahead with the marriage. I support you, fully. James couldn't believe what he was hearing. Mother, are you serious? Mrs. Agnes smiled. Yes, James. I want you to be happy. And if Stella is the woman who brings you joy, then I will stand by you. Tears gathered in James's eyes. He had fought so hard for this moment, ready to stand against his mother for Stella. But now, she was giving him her blessing. "Thank you, Mother," he said quietly. "This means everything to me." "No," Mrs. Agnes replied. "Thank you for not giving up on love, even when I made it difficult." The moment the call ended, James wasted no time. He dialed Stella's number, excitement rushing through him. She answered calmly. "James, is everything okay?" James couldn't hold back his joy. "Baby, I have good news." Stella sat up straight. "What is it?" James took a deep breath, grinning. "My mother went to see you today, right?" Stella frowned. "I wasn't home, but my mother told me she came by." "Why?" James laughed. "Well, that same mother of mine just called. She told me everything. She found out that your mother is a best friend from long ago, and now she has given us her full blessing." Stella gasped. "James, are you serious?" "Yes, baby," James said with joy. "She said we can go ahead with our wedding. She supports us completely." Stella covered her mouth, tears filling her eyes. "Oh my God, James. I never thought this day would come." James smiled softly. "It's here, baby, and I don't want to waste any more time." Stella wiped her tears. "What do you mean?" James inhaled deeply. "Let's get married in 2 weeks." Stella froze. "James, are you joking?" James laughed. "I'm serious, my love. We've waited long enough. Marry me." Stella's heart raced. She had dreamed of this moment, but she never expected it so soon. "James, James chuckled. "Don't think about it. Say yes, my love." Through her tears, Stella laughed. "Yes, James. I will marry you." James cheered. "That's my goal." 2 weeks later, the wedding took place. It was a beautiful ceremony, filled with love, laughter, and overwhelming joy. Stella looked breathtaking in her white gown, and James couldn't take his eyes off her. As she walked down the aisle, his heart swelled with happiness. Mrs. Agnes and Pauline stood side by side, smiling proudly as they watched their children join together in love. When the vows were exchanged, James held Stella's hands and looked deeply into her eyes. "Stella," he said softly, "from the moment I met you, I knew you were special. You have shown me love in its purest form. I promise to love, cherish, and protect you for the rest of my life." Tears glistened in Stella's eyes. "James, you are my best friend, my protector, my love. I promise to stand by you through good times and bad for the rest of my life." The priest smiled. "By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride." James didn't hesitate. He pulled Stella into his arms and kissed her deeply as the crowd erupted in cheers. Mrs. Agnes wiped tears from her eyes. She had fought so hard against this love, but now she saw how true and beautiful it was. She leaned toward Pauline and whispered, "Our children have found what we once had. This is how love should be." Pauline smiled warmly. "Yes, Agnes, and I pray they remain happy forever." After the wedding, James and Stella began their new life. A life filled with love, peace, and joy. And they lived happily ever after. Dear viewers, what lessons did you take away from this dramatic tale? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the story, give us a thumbs up, share it with friends, and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss our latest stories. Thank you for watching, and stay blessed.